Hello, this is going to be a bit of numerology and chronology in this video, and just following a hunch. So we'll start with Nikola Tesla. It's a famous quote. Now all this information I have pretty much got from a quick Google search. It's thrown things up that I didn't expect to find. So what started off with just what would have been a video about the year 1764, a phoenix year, has now grown into something far more. So the Nikola Tesla quote is, "If you only knew the magnificence of 3, 6 and 9, then you would have a key to the universe." Or is it? Yes, no, or maybe. I don't know why this just sort of popped into the mind. I was listening to Jason on Archaix channel in his live stream yesterday, and he's rattling off the dates of phoenix years, and I thought, hold on a minute, let's just have a look at this. So basically what I've done is exactly what Jason's done. I've just used the calculator. So we'll start with looking at the phoenix years. I thought this was very interesting. Where this leads, who knows? Any budding mathematicians, numerologists out there who want to pursue this and take this further, please do. And you're very welcome to use what I'm going to show here. I will put screenshots with all these dates and things, and you can sort of build upon it, or you can just check the maths for yourself. We're looking at the numeric facts of this. So we start with the phoenix year 2040. So we're looking for the sum of the numbers, so we don't count the zeros. So 2040, so that's 2 and 4 equals 6. So we go back 138 years, 1902. 1 and 9 and 2 comes to 12, which reduces down to a sum of 3. 1764 adds up to 18, which 1 and 8 is 9. 1626 adds up to 15. 5 and 1 is 6. And before that, 1488 comes to the sum of 21. 2 and 1 is 3. So what you actually get, going back in the Anno Domini calendar, the first phoenix year in the Anno Domini calendar is 108 AD, which is a 9, followed by 246 AD, which comes out as a 3, and you get this pattern starting with this 108 AD, then it goes 9, 369, 369, 369, 369, 36. Now I also did a conversion to the Annus Mundi on this, and this is quite surprising as well. Now interestingly, if we take the phoenix year of 2040, we get those same numbers with the first phoenix year under the Annus Mundi calendar within the AD, the Anno Domini. So the first year in the Annus Mundi that is a phoenix year in the AD calendar is 4002. So it's a sort of flip over of 2040, different combination of exactly the same digits. And obviously 4002 comes to the sum of 6. That's followed by 4140, comes to a 9. 4278 reduces down to the sum of 3, and you get this same repeat pattern. The year 5934, which is 2040 AD, that comes out as a 3, and you get this 369 pattern again. Now here's an interesting thing. All you've got to do is start with 2040, and then you minus 138, and you keep repeating it to get all these numbers. So they'll all end in an even number because you're subtracting 138. But of course, when you get to the BC calendar, you've got this year 0. Now if you look, and it comes up as one of these suggested questions on a Google search, is there a year 0? It says no. It says it goes from 1 AD to 1 BC. I disagree. And the mathematics that Archaix Jason has shown proves this as well. Because we now go back to 31 BC. That comes out as a sum of 4. Prior to that, 169 BC comes out as 7. 307 BC comes out as a sum of 1. And you get this repeat pattern. And I carried it on this 138. Now we're in the BC and we're working backwards with the numbers, as it were. We're adding 138. So for example, when you get to 2239, 2239, the flood, one of those big flood years, that comes out as a 7. But I carried this on back to 3895 BC. That comes out as a 7. That's year 1 of Annus Mundi. So with the BC dates, with Phoenix years, you get 147. 147 repeats all the way through. Can you guess what's going to happen with the Annus Mundi years? Phoenix years. You guessed it. It comes out as 147. 147 repeat patterns all the way through. Incidentally, the changeover year from BC to AD, which would be year 0, is 3896 Annus Mundi, which is a sum of 8. It's an odd one out. So you've got that numeric sequence of 369, and you've also got 147, but what is absent at the moment is 258. I thought that was very interesting. So I'll put screenshots of these calculations. I also looked at the Nemesis X. So we've got 2046. That comes out as a 3. 1254 comes out as a 3. 462 AD comes out as a 3. So you've got the same thing with the AD and the changeover to BC. So you've got 3 consistent 3s. Now when you go over to the BC calendar, this Nemesis X is 211 BC, which comes out as 4. But after that, 1003 BC comes out as 7, right back to 3439 BC. 1003 BC comes out as a 7. 1915 BC comes out as a 7, and 2707 BC comes out as a 7. But then when we go back to the first appearance of this Nemesis X, in the year 3439 BC, that comes out as a 1. Now those dates I've just given you are when this Nemesis X enters, and it does that 60-year period. So looking at the dates that the Nemesis X disappears again, you've got 2647 comes out as a 1, 1855 comes out as a 1, 1063 comes out as a 1, and 271 BC also comes out as a 1. Then we swap to the AD calendar, and we have the year 522 AD comes out as a 9, 1314 AD comes out as a 9, and 2106 AD comes out as a 9. That's the wormwood in the Bible. And in the Annus Mundi 5940, which is 2046 in the Anno Domini, also comes out as a 9. Just a few little facts and figures. It seems to suggest coding again. Make of it what you will. I'm just reporting what I've found, so don't shoot the messenger. So this changeover from a 360-day year to a 365.25 day year occurred in the year 713 BC. That comes out as a sum of 11. 11 is associated with Janus, doorways, changes in things. When one door closes, another one opens. And I refer you to Paul's channel, What the Flock TV. He has given you loads of information on Janus and all the associations with that and this number 11. Also ties in further with this as well. So if we go from 713 BC and we come to the year 1713 AD, it's an interesting year. The composer Johann Mattheson, born 28th of September 1681, which comes to a sum of 33, dies on the 17th of April 1764, a phoenix year. That comes to a sum of 30. So he's a German composer, singer, writer, what's the word here? Lexicogrammer, diplomat, and music theorist. And a music theorist. And in 1713, he writes Das neu eröffnete Orchestra, the newly opened orchestra. It's a music theory that links particular musical keys to certain emotions. So, for example, C major is the key of the child, of innocence. The saddest key is said to be D minor. Make of that what you will, but you can look all this information up on a quick Google search. So that's Johann Mattheson, spelt Johannn, and his surname Matttheson. In English it will be John Matheson. So, 1713, you have this book. He dies in 1764, a phoenix year. The year before, 1712, is the birth of Ludwig van Beethoven. Not the famous composer Ludwig van Beethoven, but his grandfather of the same name. So he's born 1712 and dies in 1773, when the more famous Beethoven would have been 3 years old. Incidentally, 1773 is the isometric marker of the compositions of symphonies of Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, who at the age of 8 writes his first symphony in the year 1764, a phoenix year. There's no such thing as coincidence. Now we turn also in 1712, no less than 9 composers, mostly German, a couple of Austrians, I think it's a Spanish and an Italian composer. They all die in 1712. It's a high number. Either side of that, there's only like 3 deaths over the year of composers. So 1714 is the birth of Carl Philipp Emanuel Bach, born 1714, dies in 1788. Lives 74 years, as does one of his brothers, and one of his other brothers, also a composer, lives to 47. You've got 3 sums of 11 with the ages of these three Bach brothers. These are all sons of Johann Sebastian Bach, but it is C.P.E. Bach who has been described as the father of musical wisdom, and he was held in high regard by Haydn, Mozart and Beethoven. He was a major influence, and I thought this is really interesting. You've got this changeover from 360 day years to 365.25. Now in the music world, you've got this significant change around this year from 1713 with this musical theory on music keys and emotions by Johann Mattheson. Now further things came out of this, and this may be I've just not watched the right videos of Jason, Archaix channel, or the Chronicon. But the first one I knew about, 1752. The dates September the 3rd to the 13th were skipped, 11 days from the changeover to the Julian to the Gregorian. But what also came up, which I thought was interesting out of this, Russia did not change over until 1918. They were still using the Julian calendar. And before that, in 1582, this came up purely by sort of chance, as it were, on this Google search. I just typed in about what are the missing day dates in 1752, those 11 days. Notice the number 11 again. But it comes up about the year 1582. The Gregorian calendar skipped 10 days in October 1582 in order to make up for the extra days which had been accrued under the Julian calendar. So 10 days, October the 5th to the 14th, have also been skipped. Well, that comes to 21. So I really do hope that this has been taken into account, because this May the 15th, 2040 date, if we're going on calendars rather than day counts, would actually take it back by 21 days. So we'd go from May the 15th, so 15 days of May, then April the 30th. That would put us about April the 24th. Just something to bear in mind. I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but you have to bear in mind, if we're using this Gregorian calendar as a way of measuring, we need to take into account that there are 21 days that have been skipped. Interestingly, in astrology, the 21st is the changeover day between zodiac signs as well. So this sort of fries the brain, to be honest, when you start looking at these numbers. The most surreal part of implementing the new calendar came in October 1582, when 10 days were dropped from the calendar to bring the vernal equinox from March the 11th, 311, back to March the 21st, 321, 123. The church had chosen October to avoid skipping any major Christian festivals. Now, something else very interesting came out of this, and it sort of reiterates why Jason was saying 2012 was not the end of the Mayan calendar. It doesn't happen until 2046. So an Ethiopian year is comprised of 13 months and is 7 years behind the Gregorian calendar. This is today, apparently. I didn't know about this, or the 1582 day skip. Ethiopians celebrated the new millennium on, wait for it, September the 11th, 2007. So make of that what you will with the numbers. I mean, September, do you count it as the 7th or the 9th month? Then you've got the 11th, and then obviously the year 2007, 2 and 7 is a 9. I feel that's also another way of showing the coding of this IXXI trauma center that we are in. So there's just a few things there which I will put in a screen. I'll put this numeric count of this 138-year cycle. I'll put that as a community post, and I'll put it in Archaix Errant's Facebook group. So there's two places you'll be able to find that. So yeah, what we're up to, nearly 21 minutes, appropriately when we're talking about 21 days that have been skipped. So there are no coincidences. Oh, incidentally, I was very pleased, and I recommend that you go and listen to it. Theoria Apophasis channel, Ken Wheeler, talks about water. Exactly the same thing I've talked about in a series of videos recently, how it is the common denominator. But keep in mind, when we talk about something like water, you fixed on to a particular modality. Think of light, think of sound, think of colours. They're all different spectrums and expressions of the same thing. So if I say earth, I'm not talking about just the physical solid. I'm talking about everything as far as I can see above, which is only as far as that distortion grid will allow me to see, and then it's clouded, obviously, with clouds. And what I can imagine is below. Everything between that underworld and upper world I call Earth. Think of like the atom. It's a great big sort of thing with this 0.00001% solid little bit in the middle. Now, that's what I see as Earth. You have a physical aspect to it, and you certainly have a metaphysical aspect to it as well. Things to sort of keep in mind. And talking of spectrums and talking of various bits like that, there is clearly a distinction between those that are more right hemisphere brained, more creative, and those that are on the logical left hemisphere. Maybe talk about that in the next video, and how that has been corrupted and given a material twist as a way of divide and conquer. But I've lost my train of thought. as you do, it happens. Anyway, quite a lot there, I think. So as a reminder again, screenshots will be in a community post, and also on Archaix Errant's Facebook group. So love to you all, and this is an appeal to any budding mathematicians, statisticians, chronologists, numerologists. Have a play with these numbers. We've still got the dark satellite of 2052, and that cycle, I haven't even taken that into consideration on these calculations. So it'll be interesting to see if that comes out as a 258 sequence, or if it does a 147 or a 369, or maybe something completely different. Interesting. So love to you all, and have a beautiful, beautiful day.